My child, this message was not easy to reach you. Something has been working against your love story for a long time. There has been interference around this specific truth, around this specific revelation, and I need you to know that the fact that you opened this today was not accidental. You were guided here. The longing that has lived in you, sometimes quietly and sometimes like a weight pressing against the inside of your chest. That longing is what I used to bring you to this moment. So before I say anything else, beloved, I need you to hear this. I see that longing. I know its name. I know how long it has been sitting with you. And I did not bring you here to leave you without the thing you came for. My child, I know the question you have been carrying, not always in words, sometimes just as a weight, a wondering, a quiet hope that asks, is this person the one you prepared for me? Is what I feel real? Or am I building something in my imagination that will eventually collapse under the pressure of reality? How will I know? How will I actually know, my child, when the one I designed is standing in front of me, and not just someone who feels right for a season? That question has followed you into rooms, into silences, into the space between sleep and waking where you sometimes lay and thought about what love was supposed to feel like when it was not just chemistry or familiarity, or hope applied to someone who was simply available. Most people who needed this message scrolled past it. You did not. The longing in you would not let you. That is the first thing I want you to notice, beloved, because that longing is not weakness. It is not desperation. It is the fingerprint of what I placed in you from the beginning. I did not give you the capacity for deep love and then forget to prepare something to receive it. I do not design desires and then leave them without their completion. I am a God of fulfillment, not of cruelty. The waiting has not been evidence of abandonment. It has been evidence of preparation, and today, my child, I am going to tell you what I look like when I am working in a love story. Today, I am not going to give you a formula. I am not going to give you a checklist to run through the next time someone makes your heart move. I am going to show you what I look like when I am at work. I am going to open up what a love story that I have authored actually carries in it, what it produces in you, what it asks of you, and what it refuses to do. Because the love I write is not like anything the world offers you as a substitute. And I need you to be able to tell the difference, my child, before the next significant person arrives. So listen with your spirit, not just your mind. Set aside the list of things you have been told to look for. I am going to show you something older and truer than any list. There is something I want you to feel, beloved, before the first word of what I am about to reveal. Place your hand on your chest if you are able, and notice right now whether something in there is already moving in a way that feels less like emotion and more like recognition. Because what I am about to describe, my child, is something your spirit already knows. I am not introducing new information. I am naming what has already been written into the interior of who you are, beloved. The first thing I want to show you, my child, is something that will seem small when I describe it, but is one of the most significant signs I ever give. When I bring two souls together who were designed for one another, the first recognition does not happen in the mind. It does not happen in the feelings. It happens in the spirit. Before you can articulate why, before you have had enough time with this person to know their habits or their history, or the way they carry their pain, before your logic has been given anything to work with, something in you goes still. Not excited, beloved. Still, there is a difference. My child, excitement comes with noise. It comes with acceleration, with a kind of rush, with the feeling of something moving fast and bright through you. What I am describing is not that. What I am describing is a quieting, a moment of recognition so deep that it actually silences the noise rather than adding to it. Like something inside you that has been running a low search in the background of your whole life suddenly stops running because the search is complete. I want you to think back, my child, if you can, to a moment like that. Not a moment when you felt the most, but a moment when you felt the clearest. When something in you went quiet in a way that felt less like absence and more like arrival. I want you to consider what I did with Ruth. She did not know, beloved, when she walked out into that field with nothing but the decision to stay loyal to a woman who had told her to go, that I had already arranged what was waiting in that field. She was not looking. She was not calculating. She was simply being who she was, doing what her spirit told her was right, and following a road that appeared to be leading nowhere remarkable. She bent down to gather grain in a field she had chosen that morning on nothing more than an impression. A quiet pull toward one field over another, and the man who would become her covenant partner, my child, was already there. He had already noticed her before she noticed him. I had already moved in his heart before he could explain why, my child, that is how I work. The alignment I create does not announce itself with spectacle. It announces itself with a quiet certainty that lands in your spirit before your mind has had a chance to build a case for or against it. Ruth did not talk herself into recognizing Boaz beloved. She did not make a list of his qualities and determine that he met the criteria for what she needed. There was a knowing, and that knowing came not from infatuation, not from loneliness, not from the pressure of time or circumstance, but from something deeper than any of those things, my child. It came from the part of her that I had designed to recognize what I had prepared. If something in your chest shifted just now as I described that, beloved, the quiet kind of shifting, the kind that feels less like emotion and more like confirmation, I want you to stay right here with me. Do not explain it away. Do not manage it down into something more reasonable. That sensation is not coming from you. It is coming from the part of you that already knows what I am building. Type, I felt it before I had words. If your spirit just recognized something that your mind has not yet fully caught up to. When you type that, you are not just commenting. You are making a declaration over your own love story. You are saying the recognition I was designed for is real, and I am ready to receive it. My child, if what you just felt as I described that recognition, that quiet knowing, the spirit-level awareness that arrives before the mind can explain it, is something you have already experienced in your life. I need you to stay close to me. Press the follow button below so that every time I speak into your love story, you will hear it. You were not meant to navigate this alone. I have more to say to you. Stay. Type, I know what this is. If you have felt what I just described in your own life, a moment of recognition so deep that it quieted you rather than excited you, that declaration matters. It tells heaven that you know the difference between noise and signal, between chemistry and covenant, between what you chose and what I arranged. The second thing I want to show you, my child, is something that the world does not know how to produce on its own, no matter how much it tries when I am present in a relationship. I bring peace, not the peace that comes from the absence of conflict, not the peace that comes from finally getting what you want after a long season of not having it. I am describing the peace that my word speaks of in Philippians 4-7, the peace that surpasses all understanding, the peace that stands guard over your heart and mind, the peace that does not make sense on paper. I am not a God of confusion, beloved. When I am the one moving in a relationship, my child, the atmosphere shifts. There is a quality to the time you spend with the person I have prepared for you that is different from other time. Not because it is always full of conversation or marked by dramatic emotional experiences. Sometimes, my child, it is simply quiet. And in that quiet, you feel something you do not feel in most other places. The complete, unhurried, unthreatened freedom to simply be what you are. You do not have to perform. You do not have to prepare a version of yourself that is more acceptable than the real one. You do not have to monitor what you say or edit what you feel before you offer it. You can sit in silence with this person. And the silence is not uncomfortable. The silence is inhabited. It has presence in it, and that presence is mine. I want you to notice what this does in contrast to what counterfeit love produces. Beloved, when a connection is not what I designed, there is a particular kind of low-level tension that lives in it. You may not always be able to name it directly. It often presents as the feeling that you are always slightly behind where you should be, that you are always catching up, always calibrating, always managing something. The quiet moments are not restful. They are monitored. You are checking the temperature of the room, reading the atmosphere, watching to see if today is a day when you are enough or a day when you are falling short. That is not my signature. That is not what love looks like when I am at the center of it. The peace I design into a God-ordained love is the kind that allows a person to exhale, my child. Not once. At the beginning, in the first flush of being seen by someone new, but consistently, in the ordinary moments after a long week, when you are not at your best, on the days when you are not entertaining, when you are not vibrant, when you are just the real and unpolished version of a person who has been living their life and has run a little low. On those days, the one I prepared for you is still there. The atmosphere has not changed because your performance dipped. The piece does not require a particular version of you in order to remain. My child, if something in you just loosened as I described that piece, if there is something in your chest that has been a little tight, a little held, that just released itself, that is not emotion. That is confirmation. That releasing is your spirit recognizing what it was designed to receive. When something in you goes easy at the thought of a love built that way, at the thought of being able to put down the performance and still be kept, heaven is signaling to you, beloved. This is what I have been building. This is what the waiting was for. If the piece I described just settled something in you that has been restless for a long time, I need you to hear this. Do not let this be the last time you hear my voice over your love story. Hit the follow button below. I have more to say to you about what I am building. You were not meant to receive this message once and then go back to navigating your love life without my voice guiding you. Stay connected. Stay close. Now, my child, before I continue telling you what I show in a love story I have authored, I want to pause and speak to something else. I want to speak to your waiting, because if you are watching this, one of two things is true. Either you are still in the season before the person I designed for you has fully appeared in your life, or you are in the very early stages of something that you are not yet sure how to name, and you are asking me to confirm it. Either way, beloved, I want you to know something about your history with me in this area. Heaven did not just watch your waiting, my child. Heaven recorded it. Every prayer you lifted over a love story that did not work out. Every relationship that ended and left you wondering if something was wrong with you. Every night you lay awake, turning over the question of whether the love I described in my word was something that actually existed in the world you lived in, or whether it was poetic language for something that functioned differently in ordinary life. Every time you chose not to force something that was not right, my child, not to cling to something I was clearly moving you away from, even though staying would have been easier in that moment than leaving. Every time your integrity held even when your loneliness was pressing hard in the opposite direction, I recorded all of it. The record does not call that wasted time. The record calls it preparation. My child, what you did in those seasons, the faithfulness you maintained when you had no evidence of its reward, the standards you held when lowering them would have brought immediate relief, the prayers you kept offering when the answer seemed to be sitting behind a locked door with no visible key, all of that is in the account. Every season you waited in a way that honored me is a season that is already accounted for in what I am building for you now. You did not lose anything in those seasons. Beloved, you were being formed into the person who will be ready to receive what I have prepared and to steward it well when it arrives. Type, I was there in that waiting, if you know what I am describing from the inside. If you lived those seasons, if you know what it costs to keep believing in something you cannot see when everything around you was suggesting it was not coming. When you type that, you are not just identifying with a feeling, you are placing your hands on your own history and saying, this was real, and it mattered, and I am still here. That is not a small thing to declare. That is the declaration of someone whose faith outlasted every season that tried to silence it. The third sign I want to show you, my child, is one that is easy to misunderstand. It is easy to confuse this sign with something smaller than it is. When I bring two souls together who were designed to walk forward in covenant, their purposes align. I do not mean that they have the same interests, or that they want to go to the same places on vacation, or that they have the same general vision for their lives. I mean something deeper and more specific, beloved. I mean that what I placed in one person's life has a design that connects to what I placed in the other person's life in a way that multiplies both of them. I want you to think about what I did with Mary and Joseph, my child. Those were two people with very different personalities, very different histories, very different ways of moving through the world. I do not want you to read their story, beloved, as a picture of two people who happen to share a calling. I want you to read it as the story of two people I specifically chose and specifically positioned so that one could not complete what I was asking without the other. Mary's humility and her obedience, and her willingness to carry something that would cost her publicly, were designed to move in a particular direction. Joseph's quietness, his willingness to hear me in the night, his refusal to operate from pride when pride would have been culturally acceptable, his capacity to protect what was not biologically his but was mine, those qualities were designed to move in a complementary direction. Neither of them could have done alone what they did together. The thing I was building required both of them. My child, the person I designed for you will not be your mirror. They will not be identical to you in the ways that are immediately visible. But when I am at the center of what is being built, what the two of you carry does not compete, it completes. Ecclesiastes 4:9 says two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. The return is better not because two is more than one mathematically, beloved, but because what I place in you and what I place in the one I am bringing to you are designed with the same ultimate purpose in view. You are not simply better together. You are more complete together in relation to what I am building when you encounter someone whose life purpose moves in a direction that draws out the purpose in you, my child, not by controlling it or diminishing it or requiring it to shrink in order to fit theirs, but by creating a kind of synergy where both of you are more of what you were designed to be when you are together than when you are apart. That is me working. That is not chemistry. That is covenant. And it is the third sign that I am at the center of what is forming between you. I want you to notice something else about what purpose alignment feels like from the inside, beloved. When it is present, you do not feel replaced by the relationship. You feel expanded by it, my child. The fears that might once have said you would have to give up your own calling in order to share a life with someone, those fears go quiet, because what you are watching is not subtraction. It is addition. It is the experience of carrying something in one hand and having a person arrive who was designed to carry the thing that goes in the other hand, so that together the two of you can lift what neither of you was able to fully hold alone. That is not a beautiful accident. That is architecture. That is me at work behind the natural order of things, arranging pieces that look ordinary from the outside, but were designed for each other before either of you understood what you were carrying. Because you have stayed this far, my child, what I am about to reveal is for the ones who held on through the waiting, the ones who did not let go when the holding seemed to produce nothing visible. What I am about to show you in the next signs is not for everyone. It is for the ones with the kind of faith that endures the long seasons, and it is for them specifically because what I am building for them specifically requires them to understand it fully before it arrives. Type, "This love story is mine." If you receive that, if you are ready to put your name on what I am building and stop holding it at arm's length, as if it might still turn out to be a wish, that declaration is an act of ownership. It says, I am not watching this from a distance anymore. I am stepping into the story God wrote for me. That is exactly the posture that opens the door. The fourth sign, my child, is one that I want to speak into carefully, because it is the one that is most often counterfeited, and the counterfeit is sophisticated enough to fool you if you are not paying attention to the right things. When I am present in a love that I have authored, you will see my own character reflected in how this person loves you. This is what my word means in 1 John 3:18 when it says that love is not to be shown in words or speech alone, but in actions and in truth. The love I design does not only declare itself beloved, it demonstrates itself, my child, not in grand gestures designed to impress. In the consistent, unglamorous, ordinary choices that a person makes day after day about how they will treat you when no one is watching and there is no reward attached. The person I have prepared for you will not be perfect, my child. I want to be very clear about that. They are a human being in a process of sanctification just as you are. They will carry wounds that occasionally speak louder than their love. They will have patterns of behavior they are still growing out of. They will get things wrong. There will be seasons of difficulty. I am not describing a person without flaws. I am describing a person in whom my character is genuinely at work, and in whom it is visible in the way they choose to love you, even in the moments when it costs them something. 1 Corinthians 13:5 says that love does not seek its own, my child. I need you to feel the weight of that before you move past it. In a love that I am at the center of, the person I have prepared does not use your love for them as leverage. They do not threaten to withdraw when they are not getting what they want. They do not keep a running account of what you owe them based on what they have given. They see your flaws because they are close enough to see them clearly, and they make the choice to stay. Not because they are blind to what you are, beloved, because they have placed the covenant above the comfort of always being pleased. They value unity more than they value being right. When something goes wrong between you, my child, their instinct is toward repair, not toward vindication. They are quick to reconcile, not because they are a pushover, but because what the two of you are building matters more to them than winning, beloved. I want to speak now to a different part of this picture, my child, because the fourth sign is not only about what the love looks like when it is working well, it is also about what it looks like when it is under pressure. And this is where I need to tell you something about the connections that did not hold. The ones that fell apart despite your investment in them. The ones that left you wondering whether something was wrong with you or whether you had misread what was there, my child. I want you to think about the connections that fell apart. The ones that seemed right but left you more empty than full. The ones that produced a particular kind of exhaustion that was different from normal relationship difficulty. The kind of exhaustion that comes from constantly trying to generate something that was never actually there. The ones where you kept offering and the return kept shrinking. The ones where the warmth was always slightly conditional, beloved, always requiring you to perform at a certain level before it was available, always slightly retracted in the moments when you were most in need of it. I need to tell you plainly what those were and what they were not. I did not fail you in those seasons, my child. I was protecting you, beloved. Every relationship that ended was a door I closed before you walked into something I had not written. Every connection that could not sustain itself was revealing something about its own foundation that it could not have revealed while the good feelings were covering it. When the feelings faded, or when the pressure came, or when you showed up less polished and more genuinely yourself, what was real was exposed, and what was real was not what I designed for you. The pain you felt in those endings was real. The loss was real, the grief was real, but the ending itself was my protection operating, closing a door that looked like an exit but was actually a shield. For those who came into your life wearing the costume of what I described, beloved, who showed the signs of covenant love in the beginning, but could not sustain them because the love they carried was built on what it received from you, rather than on genuine covenant commitment. I want to speak directly to what has happened and what is continuing to happen in the accounting that belongs to me. Isaiah 54:17 says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." The manipulation, the calculation, the emotional maneuvering of someone who used your genuine love as a resource rather than honoring it as a gift. Those things are on my record. The tears you shed in private while trying to understand what was wrong with you are on my record, my child. The ways they benefited from your faithfulness while undermining your confidence, all of it is recorded. The accounting belongs to me and not to you, which means you do not have to carry the weight of it or manage its outcome. What was used against you in the name of love has already been logged in the courts that do not make errors and do not lose files. Your only job is to release the weight of it. If this message is reaching something in you that has been waiting for permission to put down a weight you have been carrying for a long time, I want to invite you to sow a seed for someone who is still in their own waiting season right now. There is someone who has not yet met the person I am preparing for them. Someone in a relationship that has been fractured and needs my restoration. Someone who sat down in their loneliness today and opened something looking for evidence that I had not forgotten them. Sow a seed in their name today. Let your generosity be a declaration over their love story that the love I designed for them is still coming, that the door I closed was protection and not abandonment, that the one I prepared is still being prepared. Visit the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen. Every seed sown in faith over someone else's love story returns to the one who sowed it as harvest in their own. Type "I release the fear that love will not come" if you have been carrying that fear and you are ready to put it down right now. Not as a pleasant feeling, but as a declaration. When you type those words, you are not just expressing a sentiment. You are making a choice about what you will agree with. You are saying, "I am removing my agreement from the fear that says God has forgotten my love story, and I am placing my agreement with what heaven has already written instead." That choice, made out loud in a moment like this, is not small. It is a movement in the spirit. The fifth sign, my child, is one that surprises people when I describe it, because it does not feel the way they expect the presence of a God-ordained love to feel. They expect it to feel easy. They expect it to be a relief from striving and growing and the discomfort of becoming. But what I show you in the fifth sign is something that actually deepens the call toward growth rather than releasing you from it. Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." This is not a description of conflict, beloved. It is a description of purpose operating through relationship. When I design a love story, one of the things I build into it is a mutual pull toward becoming more like my son. Not a pressure, not a demand, not a standard that one person holds over the other and uses as judgment. My child, a pull, a quality in the presence of the person I have prepared that makes you genuinely want to be better, not to earn their approval, but because who they are, how they carry themselves, the way they move through difficulty, the way they speak of me and of other people and of themselves. All of it creates a holy hunger in you for more of what they seem to carry. Their presence does not produce complacency. It produces aspiration toward righteousness. I want you to think about what I did through Priscilla and Aquila with Apollos. My child, Apollos was a gifted man, genuinely gifted, with fire in him and real knowledge. But there were dimensions of what I was doing that he had not yet seen. Beloved, Priscilla and Aquila did not stand over him and correct him publicly. They did not use their knowledge as a way of diminishing his. They came alongside him. They took him into their home and they shared with him more completely what they had received and what happened to Apollos when he received. That was not that he was reduced, he was expanded. He went out from that encounter with more than he had carried in. The relationship did not control him, it completed him. That is what Acts 18:26 carries in it when you read it slowly, my child. Not correction as domination, correction as love. Beloved, my child, the person I designed for you will not try to make you smaller. They will not use your dependence on them as a mechanism for keeping you in a position that serves their need for control. They will not be threatened by your growth. They will celebrate it. They will be among the loudest voices over your life, declaring that you are called, that what I placed in you is real, that the evidence of my hand on your life is unmistakable. And you will do the same for them, beloved. You will find that who you are in relation to them and who they are in relation to you calls both of you upward toward the person I designed you to become. When you encounter someone in whose presence you become more prayerful, more grounded, more honest about your own process, more aware of where you are growing and more genuinely motivated to continue growing without shame and without the performance of being better than you are, my child, that pull is one of my clearest signatures. That is the fifth sign. Not that the relationship is comfortable, but that it is clarifying. Not that it requires nothing of you, but that what it requires of you is exactly what leads you closer to becoming the person I designed from the beginning. Send this message to someone right now, beloved. Someone you know who is standing at a crossroads in love. The friend who is waiting and wondering whether I forgot them. The couple who is struggling and needs to be reminded that I am still at the center of what I built. Let them hear my voice over their story too. Not because the channel needs the reach, but because what I am speaking in this message was not designed for one person alone. It was designed for the one who is waiting, and the one who is found, and the one who is in the middle of the difficulty of maintaining what covenant love costs. Send this to them. Let them know that what I am building does not break. Type, I am no longer settling for less than what God wrote, if you receive that. If this message has sharpened something in you about what you will accept, and what you will no longer accept in the name of love. That declaration is not pride. It is not standards elevated by ego. It is the posture of someone who knows who designed them and refuses to receive less than what the designer intended. Type it, own it. The sixth and final sign, my child, is the one that I need you to sit with the longest, because it is the sign that asks the most of you. It is not a feeling you receive. It is a function you participate in, and it is only visible over time, not in the beginning when everything is possibility, and the good feelings are covering the harder truths. The sixth sign of a love that I have authored is that it refines you, Beloved, it does not only comfort you, it prepares you for something greater than the two of you together. It prepares you for eternity. Covenant love, my child, is built on decisions, beloved, not on feelings that rise and fall with circumstances, not on the warmth that exists in easy seasons, not on the mutual benefit that makes the partnership pleasant when things are going well. It is built on choices made in obedience to what I have said, even when those choices cost something, even when the feelings are not reinforcing them. My child, even when the easier path in the moment is to exit. Every trial that a covenant love goes through, when both people keep bringing it back to me, when both people choose the covenant over the comfort of escape, does not weaken what is there. It fortifies it. Ecclesiastes 4:9 and 10 says that two are better than one, because if one falls, the other can help them up. But it also says, woe to one who falls when there is no one to help them rise. The help is not just emotional companionship, beloved. It is the commitment that says, I will not let you fall and stay down. Even when rising costs me something, even when I would rather step back, I will be the one to put out my hand. My child, a love that I designed does not run toward the exit when the difficulty comes. It runs toward me. It brings the difficulty to the altar, not with resentment but with faith that what was built in obedience can be sustained in obedience. Every time two people in a covenant love come through a season that tried to fracture them, and instead find themselves more rooted, more honest, more genuinely aligned than they were before the trial. That is my signature, beloved. That is what refinement looks like when it is operating inside a love I authored. The pressure does not destroy. My child, it reveals what was really there and removes what was not, and what remains after that process has run through is something that no external circumstance can undo, because it was not built on external circumstances in the first place. It was built on decision, on obedience, on the daily choice to keep Christ at the center, because you did not leave, my child, because you stayed through everything I just revealed, through the waiting, through the signs, through the weight of the fourth sign and the refining of the sixth. I want to release something specific into this moment that was held in reserve for those who remained. What I am about to speak is not general. It is aimed at the exact position you are standing in right now in relation to your love story. In the days ahead, beloved, doubt will come. Someone will tell you that what you feel is just emotion, just chemistry, just timing. Someone whose voice carries weight in your life may look at the signs I described and offer a more rational explanation for each of them. They may tell you that the peace you felt was just comfort, not confirmation, that the spirit recognition was just projection, that the purpose alignment was just compatibility. Do not be shaken, my child. That doubt is not wisdom. It is the enemy attempting to talk you out of what I authored. The doubt that comes to undermine a God-designed love does not come with obvious clause. It comes with language that sounds careful and measured and emotionally intelligent. It comes dressed as discernment. Learn to recognize it by what it produces. If the voice is asking you to walk away from something I have confirmed, the voice is not mine. Mark 10:9 says, what God has joined together, let no one separate. That is not a rule I ask you to follow, beloved. It is a protection I extended to you, my child. The love I join is already covered by my declaration over it. What I brought together carries my authority in it, and what carries my authority cannot be undone by the opinions of those who could not see what I was doing, or by the circumstances that press against it, or by the enemy who recognized what was being built and decided to oppose it before it could be completed. What I authored holds, beloved. What I sealed, my child, remains sealed. Type, I agree with what heaven recorded over my love story, if you are ready to stand on that. If you are ready to stop apologizing for believing that what I described is possible for you specifically. That agreement is a covenant agreement. It is you saying, I am not standing outside of this promise looking in. I am standing inside it. What God wrote is what I claim. Because you did not leave, my child, I want you to receive something specific that was held in reserve for those who remained. You who are still waiting, the one I have designed for you is not a concept. They are a real person, in a real season of their own preparation, and every day you wait with your heart open to me is a day I am building what you cannot yet see. The alignment I am creating is not happening in slow motion. It is happening in the hidden dimensions that are invisible to you but are fully operational. I am not withholding from you, beloved. I am aligning. Every piece of what needs to be in place before that meeting can happen the way I designed it to happen is being moved into position. The delay is not abandonment. The waiting is not waste. It is the season before the arrival, and what is arriving has been prepared with a precision that your patience is honoring. You who have found them, honor them, my child, not because they are perfect, but because what I gave you in them is a gift that requires stewardship. Protect what I placed in your hands. When the enemy comes against your love, and he will come, do not fight him with the weapons of the world. Fight him with prayer, with obedience, with the daily choice to bring Christ back to the center when the pressures of life have slowly edged him toward the margins. The love I authored in you is not fragile, but it does require tending. Beloved, keep me at the center of what I built and watch what I do with it over the years. You who are in the difficulty, the season where the love that was once clear is now being tested, I am not absent from what you are in, my child. I see the fracture. I see where the pressure has been greatest and where the walls have shown the most wear. I am still in the center of what I built. Come back to me, both of you, separately and together, not to perform reconciliation for the sake of appearances, but to genuinely bring what has been broken to the one who builds and rebuilds and restores with a skill that no human hand can match. What the enemy tried to fracture, I will restore. Not as a patched version of what it was, as a stronger version. As the version that has been through the fire and is now refined. Come back to me and I will meet you there. Type, I receive the love God designed for me. If you receive this, if you are ready to open your hands, not just your heart, to what I have been building in the hidden place. When you type those words, you are not making a wish. You are making a declaration of faith. You are saying, I receive this. Not in the future, not eventually, now. In this moment, I receive it as already being moved in my direction. That reception matters. That open hand changes what I can place in it. My child, I want to pray over you now. And I want you to receive this prayer not as a formality, but as a word that heaven is speaking specifically into your love story in this moment. I declare over you, beloved, that the love I designed before the foundation of the world with your name on it is not lost, is not delayed beyond what my purpose requires, and is not withheld from you as punishment for anything you have done or not done. I declare that every relationship that ended was a door I closed to protect what I was building, and that every unanswered prayer in this area was not silence, but rather preparation running in dimensions you could not see. I declare that the waiting you endured in faith is recorded in heaven, and is already accounted for in what I am releasing. I declare that the spirit recognition I described, the peace that surpasses understanding, the purpose alignment, the character of my love reflected in action, the sharpening and the refinement, these are not ideals too high for your life, my child. They are exactly what I designed your life to hold, and I declare that what I have joined, or what I will join in the time I have set, no voice and no force, and no season of difficulty has the authority to undo. You are not forgotten, my child. You are not overlooked. You are not the exception to what my word promises about love, beloved. You are mine, and what is mine is provided for, prepared for, and protected by a love that does not tire and does not change and does not fail. Receive this, my child. Receive it all the way in. Let it go to the places that have been waiting the longest, beloved. Let it reach the part of you that has been wondering in the quiet whether any of this was really meant for you. It is meant for you. It has always been meant for you, my child, and it is already on its way. Amen. Type, it is already done, if you receive this prayer with your whole spirit, not as a wish, not as a hope deferred, but as a declaration that what God spoke over your love story in this moment is sealed and certain and already in motion. Type it out loud where heaven can hear it. It is already done. If the name of someone came to mind as you listened today, the person who appeared in your heart as God described those signs, whether that is someone you are still waiting for, someone already walking beside you, or someone whose love story is just beginning to take shape, I want to invite you to sow a seed for that love story right now. not as a transaction, not as a formula to unlock what God is already building, but as an act of faith, as a declaration that says, I believe what God is doing is real, and I am willing to honor it with something that costs me. Visit the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen. May every seed you sow in this season return to you, multiplied in love, in peace, in the covenant relationship that God has been preparing, and in the fullness of what He designed before you were born.